In case we haven't met, my name is Greg Crawford, aka Uncle Greg, and I'm the founder of Healthy Kids of America. As I look back on my own childhood growing up in the 80s, I can picture myself in my room playing with my rubber WWF wrestling figures. I was also wrestling with a pit in my stomach that was forming before an upcoming soccer game that I was going to be playing later that morning. At the time, I was playing on an all-star traveling soccer team with kids about a year or two older than me. And on the outside, if you asked anyone like my parents, my teammates, they'd probably describe me as that tough, athletic, confident little go-getter type of kid. But on the inside, a different story was playing out. I wasn't so confident. In fact, I was pretty insecure. So much that I wanted to quit. Even though I was really good, I didn't want to play anymore. So I did what any little insecure kid would do at the time who needed to be his own superhero. I created one, kind of like an alter ego. I called him Chico Bones. Chico Bones was unstoppable. When Chico Bones would enter the story playing in my mind, the insecurities just seemed to disappear. Sooner or later, I outgrew Chico Bones, but I didn't outgrow the insecurity, the villains, and the stories I was telling myself inside, which eventually led me to trying to be someone that I wasn't in my early 20s. The villains inside us begin to tell us stories about ourselves at a young age, which only get louder and louder as we grow up. So what do we do to combat these false stories going on inside of us? We take on identities to shield us, an identity with our body, an identity with being a good student, an identity with sports, an identity in our religion, an identity that matches what others expect us to be. These identities that we form, they're merely shields to protect us from the villains that crept in our minds at a young age. As your child grows up, more than likely they're going to be faced with challenges and decisions in their life that require them to be their own superhero. Maybe it'll be something as simple as getting in front of the class and being nervous, or when they need to take a stand for something that they believe in, or they've been slotted to take the winning shot. These moments are the exact moments happening in your child's life that require the superhero within to rise, pull out the sword, and slay the dragon. And that dragon is the villain of this story that lurks within each of us, attempting to rob us of our courageous victories. That's when we begin to empower our kids with the tools and the knowledge to become superheroes in the making, not so much for the world, but for themselves. We begin to do this through a series of videos that invites your child to engage and participate in a story, the Superhero Within story. As they begin the Superhero Within story, you and your child will discover the following: the weapons that they can acquire that equip them with the tools to making healthy choices and defeat the villains. How to gain their powers so they feel confident and secure with who they are, and how they can become what we call at Healthy Kids of America, the 5-dimensional kid. So now I want to invite you to simply submit your email address and register your child and enter them into the story of discovery and experience the Superhero Within story. Let's get started.